LMS training, which is organized by our ETQA division. We're rolling out these roadshows across the country. We've started in Durban, now in East London, and they will be in Cape Town on Friday. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just also inform you of the Wi-Fi password. If you go to Regent, and then you will notice that there is the name. What is the name, please? I think somebody has got. What's the name? Inform you of. The name is Premier Connect, and you don't really need a password. You just need to connect directly. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, now we're going to be opening with a prayer, and I would request all the stakeholders to rise, and Mrs. Smith will lead us with a prayer. Thank you. The name is Premier Connect, and you don't really need a password. You just need to connect directly. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, now we're going to be opening with a prayer, and I would request all the stakeholders to rise, and Mrs. Smith will lead us with a prayer. Thank you. Let's bow our heads. Amen. Thank you. Yeah, I think stakeholders, especially those who have been, uploading evidence, verification, and all that, are going to be very, very relieved, because the time frames now will be shortened with the new system that we will be rolling out from the 1st of October. Yeah. And today is actually a practical training and demonstrations that will be taking place today. And I believe that most of us here have got their laptops on. And also, guys, a warm welcome to those who have joined us online. And please get your laptops ready. Please open, because this is going to be a practical session. And yeah, but before I do that, I would love to welcome and also introduce our MICT SETA team that comes from our head office. I'll start off with the mother of the division. Remember, it was a Women's Month last month, so we're still going on celebrating women. And you notice that we opened the prayer and we asked a woman to open, this session with a prayer. So yeah, let's embrace, ladies and gentlemen, women and emancipation of women in economy and also in every sphere of life. Let me then welcome Miss Natalie Nelson, who is the divisional head, senior manager, ETQA. Ladies and gentlemen, women and emancipation of women in economy. And also Mrs. Nelson hasn't come alone. She's actually brought along her entourage, and I will just read the names of the people. We do have DK Lady, and most of our stakeholders would know DK Lady. They have actually dealt with DK Lady a lot of times. There's DK. Okay. And right, we have Matima. Matima was also Mrs. Nelson very much hands-on ETQA activities. And yes, we have Dinawo. Dinawo is right at the back. And most of our stakeholders would know DK Lady. They have actually dealt with DK Lady a lot of times. Gugu. There's DK. There's Gugu. And right, we have Matima. We also have the person who made this event possible. Without him, would not be here, and it's Belinda. Yes, we have Dinawo. Yes, great. Thank you. Dinawo is right. We have Ubuisiwe Gumede. Yeah, I believe most of you guys would know Bui. And let's go to the giants as well. We do have Bafana. We also have the person who made this event possible. When you talk verifications, you talk Bafana. And we have Matthew from IT department. Thank you. And we have Kyle as well from DUT.
You guys would
Those
know
are
him.
our software developers, ladies and
let's
gentlemen,
go
for
to
the
dance
system.
as well.
And
We do have
if then I
Bafana.
could come and we have
When you talk
Itu
verifications,
Melang.
you
There
talk
is Itu.
Bafana, and we have Matthew.
Great. Thanks
from
thanks
IT
lots. I don't think I've
department.
left out anyone from the
you.
head office.
And we have
Bafana, yes,
Kyle
I've
as well
already.
from
Bafana,
DUT.
yes, again, Bafana,
are
you
our
like it?
software developers.
You get introduced twice, sure. All
And
right.
if then I could come
From my
and
team, ladies and
we
gentlemen,
have
of which
Itu
people that you know
Melang.
you
There
dealt
is
with
Itu.
on it
Right.
mainly on a daily basis.
Thanks
So
lots.
that
I
would be
don't think I've
Asanda.
left out anyone
Got
from the
Asanda
head
there.
office. Bafana, yes,
Smooth.
I've already. Bafana, yes, again, Bafana, you like it?
Okay.
You
Cindy.
get introduced twice, sure. All right.
Pulang.
From my team, ladies and gentlemen, those people that you know you dealt with.
And we have a new kid on the block,
mainly on a
Vuyo.
daily basis, so that would be
She just
Asanda.
joined us last month.
Got Asanda there.
Thanks a lot, ladies and gentlemen. Without taking much time and wasting lots of time, because these sessions are practical
Okay.
and
Cindy.
so they'll be interactive. So I would love to move on, ladies and gentlemen,
Pulang.
to Natalie Nelson, who's Senior Manager ETQA, who will be
And we have a
helping
new
us
kid on
with
the
the
block,
overview
Vuyo.
of the transitional
She
arrangement and
just joined us
ETQA
last month.
updates. As
Thanks
we
a
know
lot,
that
ladies
we
and
are in
gentlemen.
that
Without taking much time and
stage where
wasting
we're not
lots of
sure
time,
what's
because
happening,
these
so
sessions are
we
practical
will get
and
all the
so they'll be
answers.
interactive.
And thanks a
So
lot. I
would
think now
love
it's
to
time
move
for me to
on,
hand
ladies and
over
gentlemen,
to Natalie. Welcome.
Natalie
Thanks,
Nelson, who's Senior Manager ETQA, who will be helping us with the overview of the transitional arrangement and ETQA updates, as we know that we are in that
Good morning.
stage
Morning,
where
everyone.
we're not sure what's happening. So
Morning,
we will get
everyone.
all
At
the
least it's
answers.
Wednesday, it's
And
not
thanks a lot. I think
Monday.
Now it's time for me to hand
Thank you so
over
much for
to Natalie.
your warm
Welcome.
welcome to your very warm province. Have not been to East London in a very long time, so have really enjoyed my almost 24 hours here.
Good morning. Morning, everyone.
I believe
everyone.
in
At
women
least it's
empowerment,
Wednesday,
but I
it's
believe
not
in empowerment
Monday.
of people in
Thank
general.
you so much for
So
your
generally,
warm
I would do this
welcome,
presentation
to your
myself,
very warm
but I
province.
am of the
I
view
have not
that the
been to
team
East
are
London in a very long
very
time,
well
so have
conversant with
really
this
enjoyed
presentation.
my
And I
almost
think it would be the
24 hours
opportunity
here.
to give any one of the team members the opportunity to
I
present. And with
believe
that, I'm
in
going to
women
request Ms.
empowerment, but I
Matima
believe in
Mokhashwa
empowerment
to come
of
to the front
people in general.
and please
So
conduct the
generally, I
presentation.
would do this
I
presentation
am available.
myself, but
I will be
I am
answering
of the
questions. I'll be
view
here
that
to
the team
assist.
are
But
very
Matima,
well
over to you.
conversant
Thank
with
you.
this presentation. And I think it would be the opportunity to give any one of the team members the opportunity to present. And with that, I'm going to request Ms. Matima Mokhashwa to come to the front and please conduct the presentation. I am available. I will be answering questions. I'll be here to assist. But Matima, over to you. Thank you.
Good morning, colleagues. As they have stated, my name is Matima Mokhashwa from the ETQA division. I am the ETQA advisor. So I think I'm still waiting the presentation to appear. Good morning, colleagues. As they have stated, my name is Matima Mokhashwa from the ETQA division. I am the ETQA advisor. So I think I'm still waiting the presentation to appear.
I just want to make sure it's on view. It says. It should be working. Is it on? I just want to make sure it's on view.
And we have managed to realign some of the qualification and developed other occupational qualifications. We have about 13. We have, I'm sorry about that, colleagues. We have 7 occupational qualifications that we have managed to develop and realign, and also 2 skills program. Those qualifications right now, they are sitting with the QC2O. We can be able to apply for those occupational qualification. And as you are aware that end user qualification, we have managed to develop or realign to 3 units, to 3 skills program. For IR division at MICT SETA that developed those occupational qualification. They have a couple of qualification. They are also stated on the presentation, colleagues. You can be able to see those. And all those qualifications, they are also sitting with the QC2O. We can all be able to apply for those occupational qualifications through the QC2O, colleagues. And they are available for applications. All of us, we can be able to develop those qualifications. The slide is not moving, colleagues. Sorry. So here are the qualification for IR qualifications, and also the skills program for IR. All of them you can be able to apply, the same as the ones that were developed by the ETQA. So when you apply, okay. Sorry, please assist. Yeah. Okay. And another thing, colleagues, what we can state with you, we have another qualifications that we have managed to develop or realign from the historical qualifications that we have. And this qualification has been in the evaluation stage with the QC2O. Under telecommunication, we have telecommunication network operation technician officer. We have the media qualification, which is radio and multimedia. Then we have information technology. Under the information technology, we have a couple of qualifications that they are sitting with the QC2O. They're still busy in the evaluation side. We have data administration. We have contact candidate and entry qualification and software development officer developed. We have a computer system administrator. We have network operator and also the computer quality assurance practitioner. Those are the qualifications that they are still in evaluation side with the QC2O. After they have passed all the stages, they'll be registered with the QC2O. That's when we can be able to apply for these qualifications once they are registered. Then again, we have the occupation. We have media photography, which is an essential digital photography image creator. Then in the, the 4IR qualifications, this, they have about 12 programs that they are with the evaluation with the QC2O as the same ones as the QC2O that I have stated that they are still in an evaluation process. Once they have passed all the stages, they will be registered with the QC2O. That's when we can be able to apply for this qualification. They have 3D, they have optical fiber network, they have quantum computing, data science, engineering, and encryption. As I have stated that there are about 12 programs. So again, in the 4IR division, they have skills program that they are also in the evaluation with the QC2O. Those are the skills program that they're still in the evaluation. They are busy with evaluation. Once they have passed all the stages of the evaluation, that's when they'll be able to register the skills program. Then we can have access to the programs as I have stated, colleagues. Then for IR, they have also managed to register 8 occupational qualification into a learnership. So they have registered them. This program, you can find them that they have a qualification ID, but they are now registered with as the learnership. And you can, when you are granted a learnership, you can be able to register them as the learnerships programs. Then under this, I'm moving to the occupational accreditation, colleagues. As you know that when you apply accreditation with the QC2O for occupational qualification, you need to place the application with the QC2O. So on the structure here, colleagues, you can see that some of them, they are red. Those are the roles of the QC2O. And some, they have, we have light blue color. Those are the roles of the ETQA staff, colleagues. So when you place the application with the QC2O, they have 10 working days to do the evaluation of your application. From there, they send the allocation to the MICT SETA. As the MICT SETA, we acknowledge the receipt of the allocation. Then we do the site visit. We have also the time frame of our role that we need to do before we can submit again to the QC2O. Then after we have done the site visit, we submit the reports to the QC2O. Then the QC2O will sit and do their processes on their site. Then the MICT SETA will also do the QC2O will acknowledge the receipt of the reports from us to them of how the site visit that has been conducted and everything. Then they'll be able to generate the letter and give your colleagues the letters of accreditation based on the outcome from the SETA. Then here are the roles, and colleagues just mind that QC2O, they do their own task, and we also do our own task before we can be able to give or grant the accreditation to your colleagues. Then the occupational accreditation process, as the skills development provider are required to comply with the MICT SETA accreditation terms and conditions to the QC2O requirements. All the subject matters are required to be registered with the SETA colleagues. As you know that each and every occupational qualification, they do have the requirements of the practitioner. So when we do the evaluation, we do the evaluation based on the qualification. What does the qualification require the subject matter expert to have before they can be registered with the MICT SETA for that particular program? Upon completion of the training, being deemed competent by the provider, then will be subjected to the external integrated, the ASA exams, in which the implementation of the quality partner, as per the, here the quality partner will be the MICT SETA. The skills development provider are further encouraged to apply for the assessment center with the QC2O. You know, colleagues, all the processes, yes, we are the ones that we do the development of the qualification, but the QC2O are the ones that will be managing all the processes. MICT SETA will be given the allocation, they'll be doing the site visit and everything, but at the end of the day, the QC2O are the ones that they manage all the processes. We do submit everything to them. Here are the roles and responsibility, colleagues, for role players in the assessment center process. As I have stated, the QC2O, they coordinate all the occupational qualification framework of their developed provision. So QC2O, they are the ones that they manage everything. The SETAs is allocated to the QC2O for the purpose of the conducting external summative assessment for specific NQF registered occupational qualification and part qualification. So as the assessment center, the QC2O develop the instrument and manage the assessment to specific NQF's registered occupational qualification and the part qualification. So here are the roles and responsibility of the role player in the assessment center process. The QC2O must consider recommendation from the AQPs for assessment center accreditation. The QC2O will also evaluate and may verify information of AQP recommendation for the accreditation of an assessment center. The QC2O will also make sure as to whether the accredited recommended assessment center within 30 days of the receipt of the recommendation. So they have the time frame of 30 days, colleagues, as I have stated. Then the decision is written and may be referred to the recommendation, back to the AQP, outstanding and information or additional information to be provided. If the QC2O grants accreditation of an assessment center, it will be published on its official website. So once we have a QC2O recommended, they will be able to have all the assessment centers registered from each and every occupational on the QC2O website. And the QC2, the recommended of the applicant of the QC2O for considered as an accredited center in respect of the summative external assessment. And it also confirm and notify applicant of applicant status to be assessment center for qualification and part qualification as accredited. So, and they also monitor the performance of accredited assessment center to host and manage external integrated assessment. They report to the QC2 on the assessment center performance in the form and manner required by the QC2O. They also publish accreditation status and details of the accredited entity on MICT SETA official website. They distribute examination questions to accredited assessment center for the hosting of scheduled assessments. So here are the responsibility of assessment center. As the assessment center must assess the occupational qualification or part qualification in accordance with the standards set by the delegate ETQA. So they also comply with the QC2O and ETQA assessment policy and procedures. And the assessment center also conduct integrated external summative assessment in accordance with the ETQA requirements. They also adhere to standard to set the ETQA in order to maintain accreditation. They enter into a formal agreement with the relevant ETQA. The assessment center only allow candidates registered for assessment center for assessment and assessment practitioner conducting the assessment into the assessment area. So colleagues, here, even if you are registered as the assessment center, so you can be the facilitator and also be the practitioner of the assessment center. Obviously, you can facilitate, but when the learners are about to write the ASA exam, they are not allowed, you as the facilitator, you can assess those learners because obviously you have trained the learners. You have, I can just say, those learners are part of your production. So someone must come and do the assessments for those learners. Or the MICT SETA can also bring their own assessor and moderator for that particular program that will be written from your assessment center. So the part of, the QC2 accredited an entity as an assessment center for specific occupational qualification or part qualification in recognition by the ETQA, and if the entity satisfies the criteria, the listed below are the part of the requirements of the assessment center. So they must have the valid tax certificate issued by the South African Revenue Service, if applicable, have a suitable and compliant MIS in accordance with the QC2 specification, be safe, secure, and accessible to the candidates, meet the relevant standard for occupational health and safety, have the required physical resources for that particular specific qualification, occupational qualification or skills program, or also the part qualification. They must also have the human resource as specified by the ETQA for that occupational qualification. So colleagues, here the ASA accreditation application process. We have the online with the QC2O. Then the second phase is the submission of the document to the QC2 and desktop evaluation. Then after they are satisfied with whatever that you have submitted, your application must move to the second allocation, where they send the allocations to the MICT SETA for them to generate, to do the site visit and generate the report. Once the report has been approved from the MICT SETA side, then the MICT SETA committee sit and approve the report. Then after the approval of the MICT SETA committee, we do send the report back to the QC2O that here are the recommendation from the MICT SETA. Then the QC2O, they do their own evaluation. Then after, when they are happy with the report, then they generate the report from. Then as the SDP, you will receive the accreditation report from the QC2O directly. So here are the withdrawals from the QC2O. Then the QC2O may have a reasonable grounds withdraw a recommendation from the relevant AQP, the accreditation of assessment, or all the specific occupational or part qualification, which is accredited to assessor. Reasonable ground include, but not limited, inability to meet the accreditation criteria, assessment irregularities, failure or refusal to fulfill accreditation responsibility, and failure or refusal to comply with the relevant QCTO policy and procedure, failure to comply with the relevant AQP requirements, including but not limited to poor record keeping and reporting on assessment, any fraudulent activity uncovered within the center. So colleagues, if maybe the QCTO, they are saying they are withdrawing the accreditation as a part of the accreditation or assessment center, then they do have the appeal policy. If you are not happy with their decision, then you have the right to follow their appeal procedure. Then the assessment may apply the appeal, may appeal the de-accreditation recommended by the QCTO at a cost determined by the QCTO. If the de-accreditation is appealed, the QCTO will convene on appeal committee to consider any representative received, will notify the AQPA and assessment center of its appeal decision in writing. Thank you, colleagues. We have arrived. If you have any questions, this is the right time to ask any questions. Colleagues from the MICT SETA, can you please assist with answering the questions? Thank you. So, colleagues, any questions?
Yes, a round of applause for, again, beautiful. Thanks a lot for a beautiful, comprehensive presentation. That was quite a mouthful. It sounded more like an information cloud for me. But yes, because we work together, so at least it's something that we are acquainted to the terminology. But ladies and gentlemen, I do not know what arrangements has been made for us to be able to take the questions online. For those that are online, in case they wish to ask something, is there anyone managing that aspect? And also for those that are in-house. So I think it's the time now for questions. We have 10 minutes for questions and answers. Yes, sir, thank you. The roving mic, please, can we have it? Over to you, sir, thank you. You may just also just give us your name and then ask the questions. Thank you. We will take a round of 3 questions at a time. Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, colleagues. I'm Eddie from Loveday TVET College. When you were doing your presentation, ma'am, you spoke about the learnership. But when you go into the QCTO website for registration, you have a link for full qualification or part qualification, and skip program. So how do you apply for this learnership registration from the QCTO side? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That was the first round of, any other question? Yes, over to you, madam. Thank you. This side.
For me, it's I'm more interested on the process that she presented for the accreditation process, where there's duties that are done by QCTO and also what is done by MICT SETA. The problem I'm having is we've been trying to do accreditation application. The desktop evaluation has been confirmed sometime April that it has passed and it was done. But when we keep on checking what's going on, we're being told that it's the side of MICT SETA that is not responding. There's a problem with subject matter. So I just wanted to know, where do you go when you're facing such an issue where the accredited person is just silent, and where do we go? Because QCTO has stopped answering emails and also stopped taking calls regarding that issue.
Thank you, ma'am. Could we take the last question on this first round? And then any other questions? Seemingly there's no questions. I may not be sure how the questions online could be taken. Is there anyone assisting? There are no questions online. Thanks a lot, Pearls. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the first question is from Eddie from Lovedale. Learnerships that are there on the QCTO. So, anyone, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you. Over to you, Nadia.
Thank you, and thank you for the question. So the SETA's responsibility is to ensure that all the qualifications we've developed are registered as learnerships. Once that's done, it rests with the QCTO. So the QCTO is responsible for learner enrollment, meaning you would need to enroll directly for learnerships with the QCTO. All your learners need to be enrolled directly with the QCTO. But that's only once the learnership is active, meaning there's a dedicated learnership number for the qualification. I think in the previous sessions I did state and shared with the colleagues that we have had discussions with both DHET as well as QCTO, where we're looking into saying, should all qualifications not just be viewed to be learnerships? Because if we are saying these are critical qualifications that are required, if we are saying that the structure of the qualifications include the critical components like knowledge, like the practical, and like the workplace component, that already equals a learnership and a learnership implementation. So those are the discussions we've had. We have not yet had feedback on it, but as soon as we do, we will issue a circular and give you information or updated information with regard to that. I hope I've answered your questions around enrollment for learnerships.
I wasn't talking about enrollment, I'm talking about the accreditation. To register as an accredited provider, if you go to the QCTO site, I'm not sure if there's anyone that's familiar with it. You
Can anyone assist with the mic, please?
You can be accredited as a provider for full qualification / part qualification, or accredited as a skill program provider. Now I am asking, to be registered as an accredited learnership provider like it was before, what do you need to do? Because their system doesn't cater for that. Is it that when you have the full qualification, you are automatically allowed to render the learnership, or how does this work? It's just the clarity I want.
So if the full qualification is registered as a learnership and you seek accreditation for it, you would be able to implement it as a learnership.
Second question was on time frames and responsibilities. Which one? Because QCTO had their own responsibility on that slide, so there's clarity being sought on that. And the SETA has also got some responsibility that they play during the accreditation process. But now the question is, it seemingly takes longer for that process to complete it, because when they go to QCTO would say now everything is up to the SETA. We've done our part. So now the question is now, what exactly, and if maybe there could be clarity on that slide, so that when you have problems and you're hitting a wall, where could you seek help?
Thanks. I understand this is not a unique question and a unique situation. I think maybe let me start by saying that the QCTO have taken over the functions of 21 SETAs. And so you would imagine that the process of accreditation that would start within the SETA landscape would now rest within the QCTO. So there definitely are teething issues with regard to their ability to deal with the influx of applications that are coming through. In terms of the process end to end, it should be a total of 90 days. And that 90 days includes their application, the receipt of the application, their desktop evaluation, and ultimately our responsibility of sending through a recommendation, a report, which indicates whether you are suitable or qualified to be able to implement certain qualifications. So if you do hit a brick wall, it would be important, of course, to engage with the QCTO as well as the relevant SETA. So we do have the team here, and the unit lead for accreditation, Itumeleng Mosola, is right here in the front. You can have a discussion with him because we do receive the allocation lists. As soon as we receive those lists, we allocate it to the advisors who then make contact with you to actually conduct your site visits and help you prepare for the site visit. So we're able to monitor as to where your application currently sits. I must apologize on behalf of the QCTO as well as the SETA. We are in transition, and transition means change. And it's a very difficult process, and I think it's a difficult process for stakeholders, it's difficult for the SETA, and I suppose it's difficult for the QCTO as well. But we are here to hold your hand and get you through the process. Itumeleng will be able to assist you post-session. Thanks.
Thank you. Other questions? Are there any questions online? If I can check with you, Bells, so that you can read them out to us, please.
Program Director, if I may, and just indicate, colleagues, this is your session. We came here for you. So the questions that you usually send to us via emails, after the session, the one that you're going to send after when we leave, and we will not be able to answer because we will be traveling, and we'll be answering you on the 30th of September, and you'll escalate to the CEO that we haven't responded to you. This is your opportunity to pose those questions. Please, we will answer as best we can. We are here to service and support you. Thanks.
I believe there was a follow-up question from somebody. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you. There's another question.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Susanna Ntlabati from Information Technology Resource Center. I'm interested, I want to know, the QCTO requires you in some of its documentation when you have applied under human resources. They still require assessors and moderators. And the last time I was talking to the SETA, MICT, we couldn't register or re-register assessors and moderators. Is it opened again for us to update our documentation with regards to assessors and moderators for qualifications? And how do then the qualifications in the QCTO relate to what we had before, considering that the qualifications that have been extended are expiring 2025? So how does then an assessor extend accreditation or registration as an assessor or moderator? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other question? Over to you, ma'am. Yeah, if you can get the mic to Philip, please.
Also wanting to check something on the...
You're very soft. Can you give them the louder one? Thank you.
Just wondered, on the old qualification, when you are accredited, we used to be able to maybe train for only the unit standard, only for days or something, not the full qualification. Is it possible to do on this? I'm not holding. Is it still possible to do on the new on the new way of accreditation with QCTO on the occupational qualification? Can we still do training only for specific topics, module, unit standard? I don't know what we call it on the QCTO side, or is not something that can be done anymore? Because we used to have unit standards trainings that we used to do.
Okay, I think let me stop right there because there's been 3 questions already. I believe one, Ms. Ntlabati asked 2 questions around the registration of assessors and moderators, and if maybe that system is open within the MICT. And also now that in the next 2 years, by 2027, how then would, as we know that they would expire, how then would such people that have been registered for such qualification extend? I think, is that the question? Is that what you were asking? Thank you. So that is the question maybe I'd like the team to take, and then we're going to come to this 3rd one. Thank you. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, so the first question around registration of assessors and moderators, still valid. We never close that process. In fact, we've had the MS forms active for the longest period of time, so you can still register your assessors and moderators. Even though at the time the qualification, well, it's still expired, and then the last date of registration had been reached already. Regardless of that, we would still need to look at the teach-out period. So the period between when the last date of enrollment was and when the learner would need to be exited. So you would still require assessors and moderators. So just in terms of the next phase and what we're going to do in the training on the system, you'd be able to see what the process would be to be able to register as an assessor and a moderator online. Also important to note, all of the data that we have, the historical data, we've migrated into the system. Now, noting we've run manual processes in the past, subject to human error. So you may find that some of your information is not in the system. So once your profile has been created, you're welcome to update that information and engage with us on finalizing it. So yes, ma'am, you can still do that. You can pivot to our website. You can go under ETQA. There is a link there that allows you to still register as an assessor and a moderator. Looking at the occupational qualifications and the question around post-2027 and in fact 2029 now, because the last date of enrollment is 30th of June 2025, we have already catered for the process of registration as a subject matter expert. So in order to implement the occupational qualifications, you need to be a subject matter expert. The language that QCTO uses is subject matter expert, but it's the same meaning as an assessor and a moderator, because in order to be an assessor, you need to be a subject matter expert. In order to be a moderator, you need to be an assessor. Still, you need to be a subject matter expert. So there is still provision for assessors and moderators within the implementation of occupational programs, with the only difference being the naming convention, away from assessors and moderators into then subject matter experts. So with that, on the new system, you'd be able to register as a subject matter expert. You would need to meet the minimum criteria as outlined in the assessment specification document. It's part of the curriculum, which is available then on the QCTO website. And just ensure that you meet those minimum requirements, and then you're welcome to apply with the MICT SETA, who would then review your application and then make a recommendation on whether you can be registered or not.
The
I
last
think those
question.
are the first two questions. Yeah.
Thanks, ma'am. While you're still standing, the last question was, could you still be able, with QCTO now, train on unit standards?
Unfortunately not. So the move for QCTO and the occupational qualifications, if you look at the structure, they are focused on, yes, exit level outcomes, quite similarly to historical qualifications, but there are specific tasks that you would need to prove competence against. So you could not remove a specific task from the qualification and then elect to train on it as a skills program. What the QCTO has done, particularly linking to Matima's presentation and career pathways, was to say that we understand that you, for instance, may be in the media industry and you would like to move from an NQF level 2 qualification to an NQF level 8 qualification. How do you get there? What competencies are required? Do you need a full qualification? Do you need a part qualification as a specialization? Do you need a skills program? So based on what I'm hearing, your question to me is there is still a need for some competencies, but that rest within a particular occupation. Those are the ones we need to know as a SETA, what are they? So we're able to develop those and have them available as skills programs for you to be able to implement. But again, we are the subject matter experts in terms of the process of development of qualifications to ensure that the industry need is met by the supply of learners coming out of a program. But we would need you to tell us, in fact, we need an additional skills program that covers this competency. And you would need to have relevant research that supports that. If it's industry saying they need it, industry need to say to us, this is the need, and prove that, in fact, this is a need. And I think it's important to just maybe indicate that one of the other reasons why we develop certain qualifications is because we have something called a sector skills plan. I'm not sure if you are aware of it. Every year we issue the sector skills plan. It's research that's done by our sister division, Sector Skills Planning. So they look at all of what's submitted by employers, workplace skills plans, as well as your annual training report. Using that data, they're able to build a trend analysis, and that trend analysis gives us things like what we call hard-to-fill vacancies. These are the vacancies that exist within industry over a period of time, and they're not able to actually recruit, hire people who meet those levels of skills and knowledge. It could be for a variety of reasons, but mostly we're finding that people don't necessarily have those skills. So it would be important then to align in terms of what you're looking to become accredited for to the demand that industry is saying that they actually require at stage. And I must indicate most of the qualifications that we've realigned already sit within our SSP. They already indicate that these are the critical skills that we require. We're looking for these people to bring into our organizations. And mind you, all of the qualifications that we listed there as well sit within the other SETAs as critical skills as well. So your opportunities don't just rest with the MICT SETA colleagues. They rest with other SETAs where you can apply for DG grants to be able to implement using the MICT SETA accreditation. I hope I've answered your question, ma'am.
Yes. Thanks a lot, Natalie. I think, yes, we have a lot in store for you, and I think now I will call upon Boisiwe Gumede, who will be taking our stakeholders through the introduction of the learner management system and the modules. Over to you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, Program Director. Good morning, colleagues. My name is Boisiwe Gumede, and I'm a Quality Assurance Advisor. Thank you. I'm a Quality Assurance Advisor. Mine today is just to take you through the process that we undertook as the MICT SETA when we developed the system. We are happy actually to be here today to be presenting the system to you. We do understand how frustrating it has been using those manual processes. So we are happy today to be here, and we are just hoping that when we then present the system to you, you'll take this opportunity, use this opportunity, and if there are questions, you'll raise your questions. If you have suggestions, you will then indicate that this is the suggestion that we have because we've developed this system for you. You are going to be using the system on a daily basis. We do not want you to be struggling with the system, so it's therefore important that you ensure that if there are any suggestions whatsoever, you do let us know. Right? We are joined today by three of our colleagues from the IT division, Dineo, Timothy, and Kyle, who will be presenting the system today. And we are hoping that you do have your laptops and you'll be able to log into your profiles. This is a working session. So in a case whereby you might be having any troubles whatsoever, we are here to assist. So the process that we undertook when we actually developed the system, we had sessions with our assessors, we had sessions with our moderators, we had sessions with training providers so that they could just indicate if the path that we are taking is the correct path. We looked into the manual processes that you guys are obviously when you're submitting your applications, the processes that you are following. And we also looked at the challenges that we are currently facing as the ETQA division and the challenges that you are also facing. So we wanted to ensure that when we develop the system, you do not experience any challenges whatsoever. So we started with the assessor and moderator module. With the assessor and moderator module, we looked into what is it that you are struggling with? Which complaints have we received from you as our stakeholders regarding the registration process, regarding the training providers using your credentials without your knowledge? We therefore took that into consideration when we developed the system. So how this module has been designed, you'll first have access to the system using an API link. That would obviously be for all those registered assessors and moderators. But if you are not registered, you are going to obviously have to apply for the very first time from the system, and team will obviously show you how you need to do that. So when you access your profile for the very first time, you might be experiencing challenges, but we are here to assist you regarding that. If perhaps maybe you are not able to access your profile, you'll let us know. If you are able to access your profile and there is information that you need to update, please do so. So you'll access your profile. After accessing your profile, if maybe perhaps there is a training provider that is going to link you to their profile, you are going to receive notifications. So say training provider A is going to link you to their profile because they are an accredited training provider with the MICT SETA, and they want to now start enrolling learners, you are going to receive a notification. So you are not going to have training providers using your scope without you actually receiving a notification from your side. So that way, if a training provider is using your documents without your knowledge, you'll be able to reach out to MICT to indicate that we've noticed that there is someone who is actually using my credentials or using my registration to conduct assessments. And also, how we have also designed the system, we've designed it in such a way that when you receive your registration letter, you're going to receive a QR code. So each registration letter will have a QR code. From this QR code, a training provider will be able to scan and verify whether or not it is actually legitimate. Those qualifications that are actually appearing are a true reflection of what you are registered for. So you are not going to be adding qualifications. You are not going to be removing qualifications from your scope. You are not going to be updating your registration start dates and end dates. Obviously, your training providers are going to be able to see that by just looking at that QR code. So we tried as hard as we can to ensure that, we are up to date. We are in MICT SETA, so we need to make sure that everything is actually verified online. So training providers will be able to do that. So in a case whereby a training provider has linked learners to you, they've indicated that you are the assessor or you are the moderator linked to their profile, you are also going to receive a notification. So you are going to be able to confirm whether or not they've actually informed you that you're going to be conducting assessments. So you are not just going to be, signing those service level agreements with them and they do not give you anything to do on the system. You're not going to be training on their behalf. So you'll be able to receive those notifications, all right? Okay, so for training providers, you are also going to access your profile for the very first time today. The information has been migrated to the system, but for those whose profile does not appear on the system, please do let us know so that we are able to update. Right, so when you update your profile for the very first time as a training provider, obviously you will have to add your accreditation number, indicate that this is the person who had access to the system previously. So if that person has left your company, it means that the OTP is going to be sent to that email address or to that cell phone. So you will have to then contact us, inform us that, okay, you've changed your contact person and these are now the updated details so that we are able to update, so that you can have access to your profile. So when you have access to your profile, this simply means that you need to link your assessors and your moderators. So they are going to also get notifications that they are linked to your profile. So this simply means that if you haven't communicated with your assessors for the past 3 years or so, you need to start doing that. Because they have signed a lot of service level agreements with a lot of training providers. The minute they decline that request from your side, it means that you do not have an assessor or a moderator. And you need to also upload their service level agreement. So if you've signed a service level agreement with them, you need to upload that service level agreement so that they're able to see it from their side. Because remember, there are consultants. We do have your middle people who will be negotiating on behalf of assessors and moderators. So they will sign these service level agreements and send them through to you as training providers. Obviously, you usually do not meet your assessors and moderators until you have to conduct assessments. So this would actually give you an opportunity to just contact your assessors, have that conversation with them, get to meet them, get to see them before you even link them to your profile so that they don't reject you. So that's very important. We also have the learner management module. So from the learner management module, this is where you load your learners. So for the very first time as the MICT SETA, we are going to be introducing a new process whereby before you start implementing your program, you have to request for induction verification. So what induction verification is, obviously you have your learners. Let's say, for example, you are going to implement your program 1st of October, and you have a total of 10 learners. You are going to load them into the system. When you load them into the system, you are going to submit your implementation plan and link your learners to your assessors and your moderators. After you've done that, you're going to request for induction verification from MICT. An advisor will be allocated to your application. So when an advisor is allocated to your application, it means that from the onset, you have a person who is going to monitor your program. So you are not going to be contacting Asanda or contacting the head office and saying, who is the allocated advisor to exit my program? You would have received the advisor from the onset. So this person is going to monitor your program from the beginning until the end. If you have any challenges whatsoever, this is the person whom you need to contact. Be it the person is from the head office or is from your regional offices, this would be the person monitoring your program. If you have any learners who are toying, this is the person whom you're supposed to contact, all right? So once you have received the go-ahead from your advisor that you can start implementing your program, because we have also introduced interval verification, halfway through the program, you are therefore expected to submit your interval assessment and interval moderation report. So you are going to be uploading your learner POEs online. So you can conduct continuous assessment or you can conduct interval assessment and interval moderation. So when you submit your interval assessment and interval moderation report, this is just to ensure that if perhaps there are gaps identified and learners have to remediate, you are able to address that timely, especially for funded programs. We've had a lot of situations whereby learners have exited a program, they've left, they're no longer available. They're actually not even interested to come back and actually remediate some of those gaps that have been identified because most of our learners obviously are stipend motivated. And now you have to ensure that the POEs are updated and there is nothing you can possibly do. The learners are not interested. So if you conduct your interval assessments and interval moderation, that challenge will actually be addressed. So after you've conducted your interval assessment and interval moderation, we are going to conduct exit verification. You would have completed the rest of the program. Exit verification, the process is still the same, all right? So that is learner management. So that is the module for learner management. We have a certification module as well. Mr. Nene did indicate that the process is going to be much simpler. You are not going to wait for the head office to actually send through your learner POEs. your learner certificates, to send through your learner certificates to your regional office. But what's going to happen is from the system, you are going to receive your digital certificates. So once your verification has been approved, and the certificate division has actually approved from their side as well, you are going to be able to download those digital certificates, which will also have that QR code. So from the QR code, the employers will also be able to verify whether or not these certificates are legit. You are IT people, very creative. A lot of our training providers, a lot of our assessors and moderators, obviously they'll fabricate a lot of documents. So this is just to ensure that we do not have any documents that are not a true reflection of what the SETA has issued. That's why they will all have that QR code. So you'll be able to download that. You'll be able to download your statement of results as well. What I also need to indicate is when you access your profile for the very first time, you need to select your electives. Remember, from the previous systems that we had, you were not able to indicate as to which electives you are going to train your learners on. All electives were available. But with the new system, you need to indicate which electives you're going to train your learners on, so that when we certify, these learners are actually able to receive all those unit standards that they actually have been trained for. So you are not going to be indicating that you have all electives, whereas you do not have the learning material, and you now decide that you are going to add unit standards that you are not accredited for. So this will address, the system will address that, right? So you will also receive your physical certificate, your printed certificate from the MICT SETA board, which has been physically signed by the MICT SETA CEO. So it means that you're going to receive 3 sets of documents, right? Okay, and we also have, those are the historic, those modules that I've indicated are the module that actually covered your historic qualification. We also have developed accreditation modules for the occupational qualifications. So we do have your accreditation module whereby when we have received an allocation from the QCTO, you'll receive a notification that your application has been submitted to the MICT SETA. Has been allocated to the MICT SETA. Remember, the QCTO can also conduct these site inspections. So as much as we have been mandated by the QCTO to conduct quality assurance functions for occupational qualifications falling under our scope, they can also conduct these site inspections. They do have their own subject matter experts. But for those applications that are allocated to MICT SETA, you'll receive a notification. So when you receive this notification, you will therefore log into the system and actually submit all the required documents. An advisor will be allocated to your application and a site inspection will be conducted. Your report will be presented to the committee and you will receive your accreditation letter. But the accreditation letter will be issued by the QCTO. But you'll be able to see as to how far your application is. If an advisor is allocated to your application, you'll be able to see that this is the advisor allocated to your application. If it has been evaluated by the advisor, you'll see that the advisor has evaluated your application. So there is a lot that the system does to track the progress of your application, and you'll be able to see that from your side. We also have the qualification development module. From the qualification development module, this is where as training providers, as stakeholders, you'll be able to indicate to MICT as to which occupations you'd like for us to develop. So instead of you actually going to the QCTO to submit an application, you'll submit it directly to MICT if it falls under our scope. We are also busy with the ESA module. So we have not finalized that module as yet, but as soon as the module has been finalized, you'd be the first people to know, right? So that is the system, and once again, colleagues, if perhaps when team takes you through the system and you see that there should be changes here and there, with the very first SETA that actually gives you an opportunity to recommend for changes within the system. So please make use of this opportunity. And we thank you so much for being here today. I'm going to hand over to the program director. Thank you so much.
A round of applause for Boyi. Thanks a lot, Boyi. Well articulated. We will not open a session for questions and answers. However, we will continue just to save time as we are 30 minutes behind. So now I'm going to call upon Timothy, who is going to come and actually do the practical demonstration of what you are going to encounter in the, how many days to come from the first. So let's start getting, the vibe now, get practicing. Tim, over to you, and thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Testing, testing. Good morning, everyone. It's actually Kyle from TUT doing the presentation today. I'm just waiting for them to get my PC on the screen. It's good to be in East London. It's my first time here. Anytime I can see some ocean, I'm happy. So much nicer than Pretoria. Okay, stay now. All right, so let's get started. I'm sure you're all aware of MICT SETA's website. So it looks like that. And so over there, we have the stakeholder login. And that first link there, LMS login, that's where you get the link to the system. And then underneath that, we have the assessor moderator registration verification, and then the training provider registration verification. So in today's presentation on the system, we'll be looking at the two main roles. We're looking at assessor moderator role, and then the training provider role. All right, so first of all, once you click that link, you'll be taken to lms.mict.org.za. So this is what that site looks like. Just during my presentation, I'm using the test server. So as, of course, I don't want to use real people's information for this. So if you see the QA there, that's why. So it's the quality assurance server. So it's not the